Hello. Hi. Wow, lots of people here today. Let me see. I was just mentioning to my husband, who helps me, like what a journey this has been, learning how to do all of this stuff. The setup and the we just had to reset the modem and just so many issues. Okay, Rosanna, I see that you're here. Eleanor and Stan. Spring. I love the newness of spring. I love flowers blooming. And then Joanne, you're here. Oops, my connection is unstable. Um, Sorry, it looks like I might have froze. And then Chachi, hi, you're here. And Chachi says hello. She's new to us in this virtual world. So, and she's been very regular in attending, which is great. Debbie, you're here. Awesome for the fun. Yeah, for the fun, for the release of stress. And Nathan and Christine are ready for yoga. Cindy, good morning. Michael, you're here as well. Bye. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So thank you. Carolyn, good morning. Good morning. I hope you're all well. This is this would have been the last day of my 8 week session. I teach in 8 week increments and then 1 week is off. So this would have been the last day of this session. And I actually would not have been teaching it. I would have had a sub because I was supposed to be in Scotland with 10 people on a wellness journey. And I would have been this weekend at a shaman retreat learning about shamanism, which is pretty amazing. Was supposed to be amazing anyway. So anyway, here I am. So we're together, and um, yeah. So next week would have been my week off. I'm going to teach 4 classes next week instead of teaching 6. So I'm going to teach one class on Tuesday, yoga for osteoporosis, one class on Wednesday, yoga for wellness, same time as this class, and then Thursday, yoga for osteoporosis. Definitely stronger physical classes, not to deter you though. So you could still show up, use a chair. And then Saturday, I'll do my yoga for stress reduction. So I'm not going to take a whole week off. I'm going to keep teaching 4 classes. I think that's next week. I'm giving myself a break of 4 instead of 6. And then who else came on? She's Way, good morning. And Joanne, I think I said hi. Oh, and she said hi to Vi, but I think that I knew that you heard it. Nancy, yeah, the piriformis and the sartorius. Could be. Sartorius, they say, doesn't have a lot of functionality, or that's what I've been trained in with my chiropractors, starting at the hip, going across diagonally all the way down to the inner knee from proximal to medial, right? Lateral to the interior. Although they are starting to think it has more functionality than they thought before. We're always learning new stuff. And that piriformis can be what causes a lot of sciatic issues. And I'm not sure if you had mentioned before you had that, but anyway, that can be a part of it. So it would be interesting if I could speak with you guys, and maybe that's the format for it, is how many of you are experiencing any kind of numbness, tingling, stabbing, throbbing, shooting, discomfort, or pain, depending on how what the level of intensity is and how you actually rate that. Sensations going from low back area to the feet, because there's a lot of impingement and obstruction of the flow of energy and of physical touchable stuff. So the fluids, the nerves that travel through the soft tissue to the toes, to the feet. I'm not sure if Dave is here and Mary Beth. So for anyone who asked about Dave, and I know Lynn and Dave are here. That's another Dave. We have Dave during the week, and we have Dave on the weekends. You guys are my only 2 Daves. So Dave is our weekend guy, although he's joining now on Wednesdays, which is great. And then Dave, my week guy, he's not able to chat here. He sends me emails. But a lot of you are here, and Lee and his wife and Jerry. So there's like a lot of people that are here that I don't see, so or that we don't see, but they're here. And then who just came that I saw? George, you arrived. George, I was at Bristol Farms the other day and I saw a cake that made me think of you. Not this smiley face, but the smiley face with the sunglasses. They had a yellow fondant cake it was a smiley face and it had glasses. I thought, oh my gosh. Okay. So from our other George, oh, Cindy's here. George is here. Okay. So you just arrived. So I couldn't do this till he arrived. So in my second class on Saturdays, I've got two classes a week on Saturdays, 9:30 to 9 to 10:15. Oh my God. When did I used to teach? 9 to 10:15 and 10:30 to 11:45. And it's all in one. So here we are, like all mushed up together. So George is our resident comedian, and we get a chuckle out of George. So let me just share some of those jokes because he can't say them here. So George, I'm going back to some of the ones you sent before because I like those. What did the expectant mother exclaim when she received a gift of taro root? Da-dum-dum. It's a poi. They make poi, this like slimy root vegetable stuff in Hawaii. And then I like this one too. What do you call doctors in Egypt without an MD? A chiropractor. Okay. And then just let me do one more because he sent me another thing today. And I think this is really cute that he does this. So thank you, George. We love it. It was a request, remember? It really was. It was asked for. Okay. What do you call a fast runner who will not slow the pace? A juggernaut. Oh, juggernaut, like juggernaut. Okay. Juggernaut. Anyway, wait, who won't keep the pace? Who's slow pace? Yeah. Who will? Okay. Anyway. Hello. Okay, so I don't know who else arrived. I don't know if you know me. I'm Debbie. This is our yoga for stress reduction. And thank you for joining me. Rosanna, bone spurs. Okay. She's laughing at your jokes, John. Okay. So can I just explain something about bone spurs? What was explained to me is that joints sit on top of each other. They're smooth and beautiful. Of course, more so when we're younger and we don't have a lot of degeneration in our bodies. But anyway, they're smooth and they sit on top of each other. And so we want space in there so that they don't move up against each other. And then when they move off of alignment and the surface area, it's not on top of itself anymore. Now the bones calcify. They make another landing pad for the joint to sit on top of, AKA bone spurs. So that's the body's protective calcifications so that there's more, that they could support the weight of the bone above it, the joint above it. So today, for yoga for stress reduction, let's think about lengthening our body and creating space. And I know that I spoke with somebody else about some referred pain issues, and maybe some of the rest of you have that as well. And because we are sitting or not moving as often, we're definitely sitting. I think that almost all of us are, and even if we take breaks to stand up. So today I'm going to focus on taking sitting out of the body. And I may say that every week because that is a focus always. So I want you to think about the space and the joints and lengthening. Okay. So let's go to the mat and start to arrive and start to ground our mental energy. And then we'll do some stuff to start creating that space. If you are new to me here, there's a block. If you don't have a block, a blanket folded up or a towel folded up. Blankets, a few of them would be, this is kind of, ooh, it's like magical. They're behind me, right? Because now I look like a 2D object instead of 3D. So this 2D world is kind of cool. So there's one blanket. You can have 2 or 3 blankets. I have a strap over there. I don't know if you could see it, but if you don't have one, a towel, a belt from your closet. I want to release the tension in the legs in particular today to stretch your tissue. You're like a sausage. And instead of being like a straight sausage, we're all crumpled over because our tissue is pulling and causing that compressive force in our joints and impinging our nerves. So let's take that out of our bodies. Okay. So let's come back to our mats. You could have a chair to put your legs up if that's something you like to do, or lots of pillows underneath your knees or up against a wall, something to ground your energy and also for your low back. So for my low back people, can you get a chair or can you be near a wall? So low back people, meaning those of you with issues in your tissues in your back. Let's come all the way onto our backs. So either in a chair, legs are supported in a chair, or, sorry, I know that's loud, something underneath your knees. It could be lots of pillows, it could be lots of blankets, or legs are up a wall. And this is a way for us to take away the compressive force from above. Gravity, there's a certain gravitational force, there's a number for it. If we have any aeronautics, space science guys out there, I'm sure you could tell us exactly how many, what that pressure is. Whatever it is, it's pounds of force from up above onto our bodies. And that's why it's important to have joint alignment. So bring yourself so that your back is touching the floor, your rib cage and your pelvis and the middle of your head. Whatever you do with your legs is up to you. They're either elevated on a chair, elevated on the wall, or stacked up with bolsters or blankets. And I want your pelvis on the floor. Your low back probably won't be unless you have an elevation, then maybe your low back is making connection with the floor. Your rib cage, your head, and your arms. So I'm assuming now that you're all in this position somehow. Let's take the shoulder blades and slide the shoulder blades closer to the spine and down towards the pelvis. So for me, I gently push my head into the floor, which lifts my back away from the floor, or at least the pressure on my back. So I'm able to nestle my shoulder blades, they look like wings, onto my back, so that the floor is going to help to correct and maybe open a little bit of the thoracic spine, the spine that's attached to your rib cage. Then, if you'd like, you could push your feet into the floor so that it's the sacrum, the base of the spine, the triangle bone, starting at the top of the pelvis, in the center of the pelvis down towards the tailbone. You want that to make a connection in the floor. And then I'd like you to lengthen your head back away and don't support it too much. Support the head exactly right where it needs to be, or challenge yourself by letting it be a little bit lower or no blanket at all. So for some of you, you could do no blanket. Head is nice and long. Let's let the arms rest on the side of the floor alongside the body. So you're using the floor as support here. Using the floor to help properly align the upper body and the spine. And then can you feel that in the center of your head, there's a puppeteer drawing your head up towards the wall behind you. So feel that you're able, even with the pressure on your rib cage and your shoulder blades, to lay, and then take the arms straight out to the sides. Keep the shoulders down towards your feet. So don't let the top of your shoulders lift up towards your ears at all. So keep your awareness right now on the top of your shoulders as you gently start to bend the elbows, hands on the floor towards your body. To slide your hands on the floor to lift the upper arm bone. Think of it be the bone as one unit, not just the shoulder part. Let it be the until you feel the place of stretch that's appropriate. And then remember this. So when we're not together, if you've been sitting for a long time, tell yourself time to hard surface on the floor, preferably. So not the bed where you could get the bed to yield to that curve in the upper spine. I want to correct the curve in the upper spine. And then feel that the middle of the back of the head is pressing into whatever it's pressing into. Push it down strongly. Feel your core and pelvic floor activate. From our tongue, our jaw, all the way down to our pelvic floor. So if you push your head really strong, you may feel stuff happening down there. And then let the pressure of the head go. Take your shoulder blades, press your shoulder blades firmly into the floor. Maybe you feel the do this, or maybe for some of you, you feel it in your and then slowly let go. So that was adding that tension of pressing the shoulder blades into the floor, letting go. And then I want you to feel your pelvis as heavy as it could be. So let the legs go. Let the left leg go. Let the right leg go. Let them be heavy, heavy, heavy. To the support of the mat, the chair or the wall, the props, the blankets, the pillows, the towels. Let go. Let it take you. And then let's go inside. Bring your awareness to your nose. Start to draw the inside. We can't see it, but what you're drawing into your body is gas. It's called oxygen. It's an invisible gas, an invisible, powerful gas that you need for your cells to make energy. Valuable gas. Nostrils. Feel the coolness of the breath around the perimeter of the nostrils. Breathe in. Follow the breath to your rib cage. Feel and notice your rib cage expanding. Do that again. Expand. Breathe in deeply so you feel the stretch. Breath. So take a breath, declare, inhale and exhale. As you a red line coming in the nostrils, throat, all the way down the throat, all the way down to the belly button. Pause. And then exhale. See the breath like a red path up the esophagus, out the nostrils to about 6 feet in front of your nose. 6 inches. And then inhale. Coming in the nostrils, down the back of the throat. Esophagus to the belly button. Belly rises. And then exhale. Follow the red, yellow path or the red path. So really visualize this 6 inches in front of the nose, in the nostrils, making a sharp turn down the throat, the esophagus, and follow that yet up the esophagus, out the nose. Stay with this visual of a red path. Feel the belly rise. Follow it up when you leave. Follow it up. Make that sharp turn to come out the nostrils. On your next breath, when the red path comes in, after it gets to the throat, to the right, one goes to the left. The path breaks the right and the left. Let it get long all the way to your fingertips. And then when you exhale, let it come back to center to your throat. Make that sharp turn, come out your inches in front of your nostrils. following the breath in, down the back of the throat. One goes right, one goes left, all the way to the fingertips, your red line. Now you're going to draw the red path in when it to the floor and feel it press back ribs and spine into the floor on your inhale. Feel your lungs pressing into the back ribs. See the visual of the path. Feel your lungs pressing into your back. Feel the back pressing into the You take one more breath like this. In here. The arms are open. As you exhale, bring the arms up towards the sky, bend the elbows and hug yourself. Inhale, let the arms reach up to the sky, reach them away from you so the shoulders come off the floor. Reach them out to the side as wide as you can. Fingers are spread. You feel a stretch in your wrists, your hands, your fingers. Your exhale, you bend the elbows, hug yourself tightly to squeeze the breath out of the body. Feel the upper body trying to round, but the spine is on the floor. Inhale, arms are up. And exhale slowly, really stretching the heck out of your body glove. Fingers are stretching. You feel that tension, stretching your fingers, stretching your wrists. Bring your hands straight up to the sky. Open your hands really wide and then exhale to close. Inhale, open. Feel the stretch of your tissue in your hands. Remember, you're like a sausage. You're wrapped up with fascia everywhere. Stretch the heck out of that fascia. And then reach your hands up to the sky. Pull your shoulder blades off the floor as much as you can. Feel how the head wants to reach up too. Don't let it. Inhale, palms face each other. Thumbs are reaching down. Let the thumbs try to touch the floor. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Inhale, stretch. And then exhale, reach your fingers up towards the sky. Bring your arms down alongside your body. Inhale, up. Stretch your body glove. Remove your shoulders. Notice what you notice here. This is isolating the arms, the shoulder movement. So Cindy, you with shoulder issues, see how this feels. Try to get this full range of motion. We put our shoulder blades on the floor here, and the shoulder blades sometimes help the arm move. This is a big, heavy bone, 3 bones here and all the bones there. Lots of bones trying to move here with that shoulder joint. So notice what you notice for all of you, but especially for those of you that have issues in your tissues. And then bring yourself back to a neutral position. Let's take the knees slowly, bending the knees. Bring the knees into the body. Bring the knees in strongly. So you feel the top thighs pressing up against the belly, pressing the belly into the floor, and then rock side to side. Rocking side to side. Come all the way onto your right side. Cradle the head in the right arm. Take your left hand, push your left hand into the floor, open up your left hand really strongly. Now we're not going to use our back and our head and our neck because we use it all day long to sit and to do all the stuff we're doing. We're going to use our chest muscles here and our shoulder muscles. Look down at the floor, open up your hand, lead with your left shoulder, not your head. You could kick your left leg away to give you a little momentum to bring yourself up, keeping your back safe. I feel like I'm talking really loud, so I don't know if it's coming through really loud. I want it to be audible, and I hope it's not sounds like I'm screaming. My daughter tells me I scream all the time in my regular talk, not just like when I'm reprimanding her. Okay, let's move everything off the mat. I want to begin seated. For those of you that could sit in hero's pose like this, try it. For those of you that need a something underneath your tushy, try that. For those of you that need something to sit here, try that. For those of you that are like, no way, Jose, and that's totally okay, sit in crisscross position called Sukhasana, or elevate your body on a blanket folded a lot. Sitting on a block is really nice because the goal here is to get the knees below the hips. So sit really tall for a second. I want to do pelvic floor work because we're sitting so much. We're putting so much compressive force from above on our pelvic floor. So I'm going to teach it really graphic, the way that it's taught in India, the way that it was taught to me by my teacher, Larry Payne, who was taught by the masters, the main masters of yoga therapy, Desikachar and Krishnamacharya. And so I'm going to teach it very graphically, meaning I'm going to use the word anus. So the pelvic floor is hammock muscles from side to side and from front to back. It goes from hip bone to hip bone and from tailbone to pubis bone, front to back. So this is the analogy. I'm going to give you a couple visuals. You could visualize that you're drawing an egg up into your body. So try that right now, that you get around the egg, you draw it up and in. Think about going in the very front part of your spine. So the deepest part of you inside is contract and lift. Or you could visualize you're picking a silk scarf up off the floor, a square scarf. And if it's the center and then you draw up, there's a that happens. Okay, so whatever you need. And then the last one is 4 big, huge pink pearls that you grab onto a pearl and then you draw up an inch to the next pearl, in and up, in and up, in and up. So whatever that kind of feeling that you get this lift and this up. Okay. So any of those visuals, and the way that I'll describe it is this. When we finish our exhalation, when we empty the contents of our lungs, we're going to contract the anal sphincter muscle and then draw inward and upward. So try to lift everything up underneath your ribs into your hair, like you're a tube of toothpaste and all the toothpaste is here, and you're going to squish the toothpaste up into the rib cage. Okay. So a lot of visuals. I love to work with visuals. It helps me to feel things, to understand it in my body. And I hope that some of those work for you. We're going to do 5 of those. We're going to do it after we're completely finished the exhalation. So it's on the retention of breath. So it's going to be different for each one of you. Okay. So let's sit wherever we are. Take your hands on your thighs. Close your eyes if you'd like. Lengthen your body. The puppeteer has a string in the middle of your head and you're being elevated. Space between your jelly donuts and your spine. See all of those spaces having space. Take an inhale. Take an exhale. Hold the exhale out. Contract your anal sphincter. Contract your pelvic floor. Lift it up, up, up into your rib cage. When you take the inhale, take the inhale. And at the end of your next exhale, you do that same thing. You contract your anal sphincter and you lift in and up and underneath your rib cage, up to your head. Do 3 more like that. Finishing your last one. Coming to center. If you're in hero's pose, if your knees are bent and you're sitting on them, stay there. And if you're in Sukhasana, go ahead and bring your legs straight. Let's take our to me, I don't know who's here with me. There might be people that are not usually with me. I'm going to refer to this as the left, your left, where the chat is, and this I'm going to refer to as your right side. Okay, so don't look at me because, yeah, this is my right side. But if you go like that and you high five me, your left palm will touch my right palm. So I'm going to mirror you. And then for those of you that aren't not mirrored, sorry, this will require a little more mental flexibility today for you. So see, working your brain today. All right, let's take an inhale. Lift your left arm up, lead with the shoulder. How high you lift it depends on how high your shoulder will let you. Inhale, lift your arm up into the back. Let it be the shoulder that leads the way, then the hand can follow. Inhale up. This is one of my new favorite things to do because it helps add extension into the spine. It helps to work on rotation. So this functional pattern of flexion, extension, and rotation in the trunk. And what happens when we sit a lot is this. So this is helping to open up our body. Come with your feet in Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet are together here when you do this. Or you could come back to Sukhasana, or those of you that are in Hero's Pose, stay there. Let your arms go a little bigger now. Let your hand go. And then with those of you with shoulder issues, notice what you notice here. Maybe you're here. It's the elevation of the shoulder that's aggravating for a lot of people, or the elevation of the arm in the shoulder joint. So just play with it. Play with bringing fluidity into your body. Play with taking tension out of your body. Tension happens in the body with stress. This is stress reduction. Tension release is what we're going for here. Arms are really big, like you're swimming backwards, taking the backstroke. Try to get your arms straight if you can. Maybe shoulder issue people are here. Palm is up towards the sky at the end of your movement. So when you come to the back, palm face upward, even like a hitchhike thumb, so that there's this real external rotation in the shoulder joint that puts the ball of the shoulder a little farther back in the socket. So think about this in the next week. When you're sitting a lot at the computer, when you're sitting often at the computer, whatever, this is happening to you. I'm going to be really extreme. This is you. So this here takes all that out. It brings the shoulder blades back to the spine. It opens up. You can even make this a little better by opening up your throat, looking across the room, higher than where your eyes would hit the wall. So look about 4 feet above, not too high, because you don't want to crunch the back neck and add more tension. I just want a little elevation in your head so that you're actually creating space here, and you're going to potentially bring a little bit of a back bend or extension into the spine. Okay. And then we're going to go down onto the floor. So that's a movement to add to your days. And I really think that it would be nice for you to add that pelvic floor work, because there's so much compressive force on this what you would call it? What do you call that thing? Pelvic floor. All right. So we're going to need a strap at some point. We're going to need a block at some point. If you don't have either one of those, a towel, grab 2 towels. Bath towels, not really hand towels, bath towels. Let's come here into this position. My shoulder people need to know what's okay for them. Maybe for you, shoulder, if you have shoulder issues, your hands are out to the side. Maybe you bend your elbows inward towards your body and you lift your chest up for people with shoulders. I want that back bend that you're seeing in my body. So not this, I want this to come into your body. For those of you that are able to do a little bit more range of motion in the shoulder joint and other joints of the body, hips, whatever else, inhale, exhale, inhale, push your hands into the floor, lift your body up, lengthen your muscles on the inhalation, and on the exhale, lower. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. Inhale, let the pelvis rise up, let the knees move away from you. Notice the path your body takes. Go. This is the last one. Come up. Stay here. You're lifting your pelvis up. Feel that pretty strong stretch in the shoulders. Head is the same alignment of the body, unless you need to put the neck forward because the chin forward because the neck doesn't like it. Lift that pelvis if you can. Move those knees away from you. Push your feet into the floor. Push your hands into the floor. Strengthening the posterior chain of the body, the back of the body. Take one more breath. And then exhale to come all the way down. Take your legs straight. Again, posterior chain. We're going to work on the posterior chain. So maybe even elbows for people with shoulder issues. See if the elbows work. For the rest of you, come up here with your hands on the floor. Take an inhale as you lengthen your body, lift away from the floor, and then exhale to lower. This always looks easier than it is. On the next one, you're going to stay there. Come up, stay here. Try to touch your toes to the floor. Lift your pelvis. Push your chest forward. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and lower down. So for those of you that are like, wow, this is hard. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me too. It's hard for all of us. Let's come into Navasana boat pose, strengthening the core from this whole section here. So if it was an aluminum can, this whole area was an aluminum can, you're going to draw inward to make an hourglass. Low ribs and pubis bone are going to come towards each other, pushing back towards your spine. So you see how my low back moves back? My low back, if you look at my low back here, I contract my core to push my low back. That's what we want instead of it being the upper spine that moves, okay? Walk your feet backward to come into Navasana boat pose. And actually, yeah, let's stay here static. Works for you. You could take one leg straight at a time if that works for you. You could try to do both legs straight, which is full Navasana. Let your chest lift. Like right here, the puppeteer is lifting the string up towards the sky. So your clavicle bones are lifting up. You're contracting your core. Push your belly button back towards your spine. Balance yourself on the end of your tailbone. Take one more breath. And then let's come out. Maybe a little challenging for some of you, some of this stuff. So maybe you do one or you do like a middle level to it. So don't come so strongly into this. Let's come all the way down onto the floor. Come all the way down onto the floor. Stretch, stretch, stretch your body glove. Remember, we're like a sausage. So reach one hand away like you're reaching for something right behind you on the floor and it's an inch away and you're trying to reach for it. And then your feet are trying to slide away from you at the same time. Stretching, stretching, stretching. And then let's bring ourselves to center. Let's take our knees bent. Let's bring our feet really wide here. So really, really wide feet off the mat. If you can. Take your arms alongside your body, palms are up. Let's inhale, let your knees go one side. Exhale, belly button to the spine to come back to center. This is one of the most yummy stretches, if you ask me. It takes the lower body from the lower ribs down. So it's the low back is a little bit involved here, depending on how much you involve it. And you're tilting your pelvis off the floor and your rib cage remains on the floor. And so you get all of this stretch here in the hips. So Nancy, that sartorius is going to get stretched here. It's going from the inner hip to from the outer hip to the inside of the knee. I'm pretty sure the sartorius goes diagonal across the whole, like from up here near the TFL down to the inner knee. So really, really just go back and forth. And if you keep your rib cage on the floor and then bring yourself back to center, let's take both of our legs over to the right. Pick up the left foot. Put the left foot on the inner right thigh. So hopefully you could see that. This is quite often confusing in class, but hopefully with you seeing me do it, it won't be as confusing. So the key is that this right leg is on the floor for you guys. Make sure your leg is not off the floor. You want your leg on the floor. And then hold on to that ankle joint. Push that left knee away with the muscles of your body, not with your hand. So it's the muscles creating a space in the left hip joint. You should feel a stretch on that left hip area. Reach that left hand away from you. If you're really limber, some of you may be really, really limber, you may be able to bring the left foot on the floor and still have access to push this leg away. Maybe. So see what it's like. I'll tell you that most people in my classes cannot or should not put their foot on the floor. I'm going to say like a very high percentage, let's say 80, 85%. So sometimes people may think they can try that
but then they're feeling such a strong stretch on the back. And I'm trying to stretch the deep psoas muscle and the hip joint muscle. So there's an intention of taking sitting out of the body here, stretching the psoas and the hip flexor muscles. And if you put your foot in the floor and you go to your back, I don't want that. I don't want this in your back. I want it right here. Reach, 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 reach. Reach, reach, reach. Bend your left wrist. So you bend your wrist and the energy comes out the wrist like you're spider person, shooting a web on the wall the heck out of your body here. Take an inhale, push your heart up towards the sky. And then let's bring ourselves back up to center. Put your feet on the floor really wide, push your feet into the floor, pick the tushy up, put the body back down, and then let the legs go to the other side, to the left now. You're gonna pick up the left foot, let the foot go on the right inner thigh, and then you're pushing the leg away with the muscles. Lengthen. Bending the wrist, reaching out. So I know I've told this before, so sorry if it's redundant for those of you that have heard it before. I think that this is how I healed from my hip replacement. 3 months after I had my hip replacement and I felt safe to stretch my joint, I started to create space in my hip joint. And that was tremendous for healing, because I was mentioning at the beginning of class today that the joints have a beautiful smooth surface to roll over each other nicely. And then all the tissue that goes around it, or anything that innervates that area, the nerves supply there, we want it to be flowing so that it doesn't impinge and give us symptoms. So this here is a way to start opening up that hip joint and the muscles of that hip. And the psoas is attached to the inner leg bone. So this leg is in an external rotation position, and then reach that arm away. It feels pretty yummy to me. I hope it feels pretty yummy to you. Take one more breath. And then let's exhale, bring ourselves back to center. We're going to do a figure 4 to stretch the piriformis. We all have one. Anybody with sciatica or anything, this is external rotator muscle group in the middle of the tushy cheek. Let's take the left leg over the right and make sure that it is your ankle on top of the leg and not the foot. So if it's the foot, walk it over so it's your ankle that's on top of the leg. And then draw the leg in, put your left hand through the center, grab a hold of the back of the right thigh if you can. If you can't, if you need to stay here, that might be enough for you. And then make sure your head has a lot of cushion here. So putting more support underneath the head will enable you to have access. Lift the sole of the foot up towards the sky, and then you push this knee away with your mind. I don't like to push muscles with my hands. I like to do it with my mind because I don't want to tear anything. I feel a very strong stretch here in my left hip joint. That's what you're going to feel. Take one more breath. And then let's switch. Take the other leg, put the leg bone, the lower leg, the ankle area, reaching through the center to grab a hold of that other leg, and then bringing the leg up towards the sky, if that's appropriate for you. For some, maybe staying here is where you need to be, or on the floor. And then you're pushing this knee away with the muscles in the body. Feel that stretch. So if anybody gets sciatica, or this is a really good thing to do, it's called figure 4 or supine pigeon pose, external rotator. Great stretch to do when you are sitting a lot, to stretch this area of your body. Then let's go ahead, take one more breath. And then let's take the knee in. So keep that right knee in, take that left leg straight, draw that right knee in, that left leg is straight, push the left leg into the floor like crazy, and pull the right leg towards your head like crazy. Hopefully you feel a stretch in the front of your left thigh, lengthening your psoas, your sitting muscle. Then go ahead and bend that left knee for a second to grab your strap or your belt or your blanket or your towel, whatever you're going to put around your foot. Put it around your foot near the top edge of the foot, so where the toes are. Put the blanket or towel or whatever. If you want to hold it with one hand, go ahead. If you want to hold it with 2 hands, go ahead. If you want to straighten the other leg, or bend that knee. whatever feels right for you. Draw the knee towards the wall behind you. If you want the leg to be straight, you're going to stretch the muscle and pull on the bones. And then if you could also do this with a bent leg, bringing it back to being in the belly of the muscle, the center of the muscle, pulling that leg back. Look at your foot. Try to make sure your foot is a perfect footprint on the ceiling. I don't want it to be angled one way or the toes to be up close to the wall. Try to see if you can make a perfect footprint towards the ceiling. Pulling that leg back, back, back. And then go ahead and bring yourself back to center. Let's take that leg and reach that leg out to the side. For some of you, having a block here to support the weight of the leg, maybe high up near the body, or if you have a little more range of motion in your adductors, you could come down a little lower, support that leg, whatever. It's really important that you do you and don't worry about what the person that's teaching is doing or what the people in the class are doing. And I think being at home, this is a really nice thing, is that our egos are not coming to yoga with us because we're all at home. So we're able to do what we can do and feel okay about it because nobody else is there. And so we're not worried about, wait, I should be more limber. Oh my gosh, I'm so tight. Take an inhale and exhale to bend your knees, come back to center. Yeah, I was thinking about that, about how the ego is not coming to class with us and how awesome that is, because then we could just do ourselves. Take the strap or the belt or the towel in the other hand and draw the leg over the other direction. Now be careful if you have a hip replacement, and if you have a hip replacement where your incision is in the back of your leg, posterior, going across the midline of the body, maybe you've been told not to do that. I actually have had a hip replacement posterior on this leg. So I am very cautious when I go across the midline of my body to know what's appropriate or not. And then bring yourself back to center. I'd like you to bring the strap right, or the belt or the blanket, underneath your toes, right underneath your toes. Hold the strap, one piece in one hand, one in the other, or the blanket or the towel. Bend your knee a little bit. See how it's a little bit. It's not like this. Bend it just a little bit. Inhale. Exhale, straighten that leg. Push that knee to a straight position. Feel that calf. Hallelujah. Inhale to bend. Exhale to straighten. Pull the strap down. Be really strong here. I know this is uncomfortable. Be here just, it's a couple more movements. This is going to help you guys with communication to the lower leg. Let's come into a held position. Stay here. Pull the toes towards you. Keep that knee straight. Deep breaths. Pull the breath in. Helps with cramps. Take one more breath. And then let's take that leg, hold on to that leg, bend the other leg, to that leg. Inhale, point that foot, exhale, flex. Inhale, point, exhale, flex. Inhale, point, exhale, flex. And then slow circles. See how slow I'm going? Notice how slow you're going. Some of you go too fast. And I want as much, go the opposite direction. I want you to articulate your ankle. If you could see your ankle, meaning if there's no socks on it or anything, notice all the ligaments and tendons and muscles and bones. Look at the way that they move as you articulate this ankle joint. Lots of balance and coordination for your body-mind connection right here in your body. So make sure you're lubricating this part of your body. You could do this seated. You could do this any time of the day you think about it. Try to remember the other leg. You're first going to bring the other leg in and straighten the opposite. That leg into the floor as you draw that leg in. Feel that stretch as you stretch your psoas, your muscle of sitting, and other hip flexor muscles. One of them is a quad. Draw that knee in. And then bending the knee, bringing the strap on the foot. So I think that I do focus on stretching this muscle group a lot when we're in class on Saturday for stress reduction, because this upper area of our legs, or even lower, when there's a lot of tightness in the legs, it pulls the pelvis into a certain position, and then the low back, and then the upper and the head and everything. And because we sit a lot, the pelvis may also, it's just everything is connected. And so it's all good. Straighten the leg if you'd like. Pull the leg towards the wall behind you, either straight or a slight bend in the knee, whatever works for you. Look at your foot. Try to make sure your foot is in a nice position facing up towards the sky. Notice if the toes are angled in or out. Notice if the pinky toe edge is closer to the ceiling than the big toe edge. And try to work on alignment of that foot, because that is where it all begins. That's where the beginning of your kinetic chain is in the foot. Deep breaths here. So we're gonna be taking our leg out to the side here. So for those of you that use the block on one side, maybe need it on the other, or maybe not, just nice if you have it there. Let's lengthen our leg out to the side. So this leg the other leg could be straight or bent. It's up to you. And use your elbow to help you here, drawing that leg up towards the wall behind you. Feel that stretch on the adductors. And this is good for the knee joint, to loosen up the muscles that are attached to the knee joint that have an effect on your knees. Some of you have knee issues, and then we all want to have stability in our knees. Take deep breaths down to your belly. Take one more breath. Go ahead and bend that knee. Bring the foot back up to center. Let's do the half. So bring the strap or the blanket or whatever you're using up towards the top of your feet. The knee is bent on the inhalation, and on the exhale, you come to a straight leg. Inhale to bend. Exhale to straighten. Inhale to bend. Exhale to straighten. Inhale, bend. Exhale to straighten, and then stay here. Make sure your other foot is active. The other toes are up. It's not like a floppy fish. Let it be active. Pull the strap towards you. The knee is straight. And then go ahead and release that. Hold on to that leg. You could bend the other leg. Inhale to point the foot. Exhale to flex. Inhale to point. Exhale to flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. And then slow circles. See how slow I'm going? Try to go slow, please. It's not a race. Let's go slow in the other direction. If we start to practice slow movement, so this is for the intention of articulation in the ankle joint and really freeing up all that tissue. What we do on our mat translates when we get off of our mat into the rest of our lives. So slowing down in general, in our minds, in our bodies, and eventually with finding more peace in our lives. Let's bring the other knee in, draw the knee in deep. This is happy baby. The legs are spread like crazy. The knees are bent and they're coming towards your elbows or your shoulder, your armpits. If you could reach up and grab your toes, go ahead and do that. If you're able to grab your feet, that's okay. But this is like what a happy baby does. Feeling that deep stretch in the muscles of the pelvis. Yeah. Let's go ahead, bring the soles of the feet together, knees are out to the side. That's that inner thigh, the adductor muscles. And then let's put the feet on the floor. Let's do our bridge pose. A block between the knees. If you have a blanket or a towel, you could use that as well. Bring your feet back towards your body. Let's begin with the arms overhead. Thumbs are touching the floor, palms are facing in towards each other. This is your inhalation. Make sure that your feet are close together. They're not wide. So you don't have a triangular shape in your lower extremities. You have your knee joint stacked on top of your ankle joint, and they're only about 6 inches apart, 4 to 6 inches. Inhale, arms are overhead. As you exhale, push your belly button to your spine, flatten your low back into the floor, squeeze the block, and then point the tailbone up towards the sky. Start to lift one spine bone at a time off the floor, and slowly bring your arms down towards your body. Lift up, lift your rib cage off, lift up towards your heart. The weight stays in the upper torso, it doesn't go into the neck area. And on the exhale, you slowly articulate the spine one vertebra at a time, putting one spine bone at a time. The arms go back overhead. Inhale, start with the low back pressing into the floor. So it's the tailbone that lifts off first, then the sacrum, then the lower lumbar one at a time, then the thoracic one at a time, till you get all the way to the top of your back. And then slowly on the exhalation, articulate slowly, putting one spine bone down on the floor. Let's do that really slow one more time. Squeeze the block, flatten low back, let the tailbone come off first, then sacrum, then lower lumbar, then first thoracic, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th. Maybe that's as high as you go. I don't think we could ever go to the 12th. 12 beat. Last time, let's come all the way up, and we're going to stay there and hold when we come up. So come all the way up. Slide the shoulder blades closer to the spine for those of you that can get pretty high, lifting your chest up. Do not look side to side here. Take your hands under, reach your hands either alongside your body or clasp. Squeeze the block, contract the tushy cheeks. Lift your body away from the floor. Push your feet into away from the floor. Lift up, push away. Strengthening that posterior chain again. Part of you that holds you up, your hanger. The neck. The weight is in the upper back. If you want to try lifting one foot off at a time, move, or don't let the pelvis move when you raise the block, contract the core, lifting one foot away if you'd like, or not. Take one more breath. And then let's slowly take your to lower down one breath at a time. We're going to stretch our back and our whole body in a back bend shape. So like a half moon, opposite direction. Take the block or a blanket rolled up underneath your pelvis, not on the low back. So by the top edge of the pelvis, have the block or the support there. Then you're going to take your arms overhead and slowly straighten one leg at a time to make sure this feels appropriate. Pointing the toes towards the floor. Push the sternum bone up towards the sky. So let the sternum bone push up towards the sky. Reach yourself nice and long here. Deep breaths down to your belly. Follow that red path in as we began class today. Breathe down to the pelvic floor. Take one more breath. Let's go ahead. Bending the legs. Push the feet into the floor. Lift the pelvis up and take the block out to the side. Bring the knees into the chest. Reducing or minimizing or releasing that muscular tension in the body. Roll onto your right side. Open up your left hand. Cradle your head with your right hand. Take your top left leg like a piston in a car. Inhale, and then exhale. Use your left hand to push away, leading with your left shoulder. All right. Let's come on to all fours for a second. Take your hands on the floor, right underneath your shoulders. Take your right hand forward, your left hand back. Inhale to lift, right hand off, left leg off. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. And one more. Inhale to lift. Stay here. Reach your right hand away. Reach your left leg away. If you want to challenge yourself with balance, you could take your right foot off the floor. Take your right hand out to the right. Take your left leg out to the left. Push your fingertips into the floor. Push your left fingertips into the floor. And then come back to center. Woo. And then go ahead and come down. Let's do the other side. Slide your left hand away, your right leg away, and inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Last time, inhale to lift. If you want to challenge yourself, left foot comes off. Left hand goes to the left, right leg goes to the right. Push your right fingertips into the floor. Look straight down at your right thumb. Your nose is pointing down to the floor, not forward. Lengthening that back neck. Let's inhale, bring yourself back to center, and come out. Hope you're doing okay. Usually you guys are my gauge to see you in person, to see whether or not I need to slow down or if it's okay. But since I know many of you that are here, I kind of know what you're capable of. And I also know those of you that some of this may be too challenging. So do whatever's good for you. Let's come into bending our wrist. Take your opposite hand and stretch. Feel that beautiful stretch coming in there. Flip it up and do the opposite side. Take the other hand, do the same thing. And then other wrist. Take your wrist, roll out your wrist. We're going to do our plank challenge. So I don't know about you guys, but I feel so much stronger in my trunk. 7 weeks, 1 minute plank. Appropriate for you. So the plank, you can either come into a regular plank or a modification of plank. And if you need to come down on your forearms, you could do that as well. Okay, so let's prepare. Pointer fingers are pointing forward, thumbs are pointing in towards each other. Take one foot back, take the other, and come into your plank pose. If you're going to lift limbs off the floor, walk your hands closer so they're directly underneath your shoulders. So your thumbs are only about 2 inches apart. Push your body weight back so you're equally weighting your legs. Push your feet into the floor. Make sure the pinky toes are getting some connection too. And then if you want to take a hand off, lift one hand up for a breath or two. And then let's switch, do the other. If you want to try taking feet off, a little easier, I think, than hands, or especially for girls. Take one foot up. And then the other. So eventually, then go ahead and put it down. If you want, you could try to take 1 foot and one hand. Diagonal. And then do the other side. And then come down. Okay, that was 5 minutes, or 5 seconds longer. So that was 1:05. So I think maybe George, maybe Michael were able to do that diagonal.
Michael, I'm pretty sure. And not, I mean, you could tell me later whether you did or not if you're still here. Let's take the wrist, shake the wrists out. Woo! Okay. A lot on the red, no, right? So let me see. I was going to do another wrist thing, but I think we're going to not do another wrist thing. I think that we are going to do a lengthening the psoas. Come all the way back to the back edge of your blanket and bring a foot forward. Make sure it's really, really forward. So it's not just here, because we're going to come forward into lizard pose. So it's not just there, it's really forward. And then you're going to bring your body weight forward. If you need to be with a block, you can have a block here. For some of you that maybe don't have a big range of motion in the hip joint, this is stretching the heck out of your sitting muscles, your psoas. You could have a chair here and have your hand on a chair for those of you that this is intense for. Or you could come down with your hands on the floor if you do hands on the floor like a runner's lunge. If you want to make this a little more intense, you pick the back foot off the floor. Back knee off the floor, if you'd like, bringing your body forward. And we're just going to open to the side. So take your hand on your thigh and then rotate your trunk. So lengthen your spine, reach out your head, and open up your body to try to look over that shoulder that you're looking over. Make sure your body weight is forward. You're either on a block, on a chair, stretching the heck, whichever one you're doing. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself forward and come out of that. So we're using weighted deep stretching, using our body weight now to stretch the muscles of the lower body. And then we're adding that rotation at the end. So you bring yourself forward. So make sure you're not staying here and you're bringing your torso forward. That's my upper body moving. I want your pelvis to move forward. And then you decide, do you need to be on a block here? Any length, any height. Maybe you need to be on a block. Maybe you need your hands on a chair. Or maybe you could do it on the floor. Some of you that are super, super limber, if you walk that foot forward, can maybe come down onto forearms, like forearms on the block or forearms on the chair. And then lift that back foot off, or back knee if you want. So you don't have to do any of these. These are just all different places to be. I want you to hang out here. It's called lizard. And then let's add that rotation of the trunk. So take your hand on your knee, lengthen your trunk, and then open up and look over that shoulder. So you rotate the trunk and you're stretching the top connection point of the psoas muscle onto the lumbar spine. Deep breaths down to your belly. Take one. Boy, oh boy, do we stretch our psoas. Okay, now I want to do a lateral, stretching the side body. So you're going to come onto your knees. We're going to come forward into a child's pose. And let some of you can either you can make your knees really wide, especially if you've got some stored energy here and you need some space for that, to keep your knees wide. Or have your knees together and then it presses into that stored energy space and really does stretch low back. We're going to come forward into extended child's pose. Arms are forward. First, let your forehead touch the floor. Feel the under armpits area stretch. Walk your hands over to the right. As far over as you can get, especially with the left hand. And then lower down, you could rest your head on top of your left upper arm if you'd like, or put the forehead on the floor. You could push your body weight towards the left, so pushing the left hip to the left and the left armpit away. That deepens the stretch on that left upper trunk area. And let's walk ourselves to the other side, over to the left.
Pushing your right hip to the right, pushing your head or resting your head on your right arm and pushing your right armpit away from you, deepening that stretch on the right side body, the lateral. Take one more breath. Let's bring ourselves all the way up.
So that last movement, I hope the arms are overhead, and then we walk them over to the side, and we push the head onto the arm, stretching that lateral chain. Lymphatic here. So let's prepare and move down to Shavasana. Let's come all the way down onto our backs, bringing your knees into your chest before you end up with the final rest position. Bring the knees in to align everything in the body, rocking side to side. Either legs are up the wall, legs are up a chair, or your legs could be all the way straight. Hands are to the side, palms are up towards the sky. Do what you need to do to let go, let go, let go. Bring your awareness to your breath. Stay here, stay on your mat, stay in the room. Bring that energy from the outside to the inside. Inhale, relaxation, tension. Gently begin to deepen the breath. To bring movements to your fingers, your toes. Bring that movement up into the ankle joint and the wrist joint. Joint and the elbow joint as you bring the knees into the chest. Also bringing that up into the spine joint. And then rock side to side. Let's rock all the way onto the right side. You're going to gently lead with your left shoulder to bring yourself up to a seated position. Come into whatever is a comfortable seat for you so that we can ritualistically close this practice. Allow all that we did, the lengthening, the strengthening, the alignment, let's let all that to sink into our tissue and our mind. So all parts of us, physically, mentally, emotionally. I want to say spiritually. For those of you that resonates with, and for those of you that it doesn't, just release that. Imagine that you're being lengthened by the puppeteer, gently lifting a string in the very center of your head to create space in all your joints. Take your thumbs to touch the primordial sound of all living beings, the sound of life, blending the ah, the o, and the sounds together during your exhalation. Take a deep breath down to your belly. We bow to each other in namaste. Namaste. The word namaste means I bow, or I bow to you. And it's the divine that exists in me, the light that exists in me, is recognizing and honoring through telecommunication, through these waves, knowing that George with his TV, the other George with his TV, wife is in the other room, visualizing what the rest of you look like that I don't know of. This is my namaste of me connecting to you through the magic power of telecommunications. So namaste. So I'd love to hear from some of you. Today's class was definitely about physically releasing that tension that's in the body. So there was a little bit more emphasis today on my guidance of freeing up and of aligning and strengthening the bones that put us into that proper alignment. Okay, I just wanted to note that, I knew Rosanna was here. Perfect volume, okay, thank you. I chew with Spurs. No, they are spurs, Rosanna. I didn't mean that they weren't. They are there. The body like makes these calcifications. So hopefully we're getting stuff to be like not pushing on them. So like if it was a vine of a rose and there was thorns in different places, we're trying to get to the places where there's no thorns. But of course they're real and they're legitimate and you could see them. Um, and she said, haha, okay. The audio is breaking up a lot for me today. Okay, yeah, definitely trouble with it. We had a very low upload speed when we began today, so we rebooted my modem. That's why it took me a little while to come on. Hi, Lauren. Um, oh, Lauren, are you watching me through an iPad? So Lauren said her chat box is here. Are you watching me through an iPad? Not all systems mirror, but I think most do. So I'm kind of teaching to the majority. So phones and computers mirror, and this is many people's left, but you may be using an iPad. Let me see. You're welcome, Chachi. So great to have you join us. Namaste, Joanne. Yeah, I see you. Lauren, thank you. Cindy, yeah, okay, great. Cindy, I was wondering about your shoulders today. I did a lot of shoulder stuff. I was like, oh, hope this is okay for Cindy. But I know that you have a lot of body awareness. Michael, I want to know, Michael, did you do the diagonal? I don't know why. I just think you were my Mr. Surfer. And George, and then Vi, Piriformis, great. Carolyn, okay, yeah, sorry with the freezing. Have a great weekend, George. Very strong class. Okay, I think that's a good thing, Joanne. Um, Nancy, you're all stretched and strengthened, ready to go. Carpe diem. Plant some flowers. Make sure you flex at the hip joint, Nancy. Make sure you contract your core. Don't let everything spill out forward. Hold it back away from the floor when you're bending to plant. Um, Lauren, desktop. Okay, interesting. I know that my husband's iPad doesn't mirror me. She's way. Okay, she's way. Sorry, you're another one. Were you doing the diagonal, one hand off, one foot off in the plank? I'm assuming yes, or maybe. Michael, yeah, I did that, Michael. Lynn, good. Dave, hi. I'm talking to Lynn, but you're out there as well. Hopefully, Steve's here with us too, Mr. Yogi. Lynn loves a joke. See, George, we love you and we love your jokes. And Debbie, great. Good. I'm glad. Okay. So yeah, this is a recorded class, guys. So lots of tension being taken out of the body today in this class. So feel free to watch it again. Diagonally, yeah. See, George, stud. It's hard. So I did it today. That's the first time I've done that probably in 10 years plus. I used to do diagonal, and all this plank that we're doing on our plank challenge is strengthening the heck out of my torso. I feel so strong in my whole torso. Okay, so thank you all. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Thumbs up if you like it. Email me with questions, suggestions. I love to hear them. I don't know if Stan and Eleanor are still here. Stan said something really great in one of his emails. He said, it's the East and the West meeting, yoga and YouTube. Isn't that great? I love it. So I don't know if you're still here, Stan, but I loved that East-West analogy of yoga and YouTube. Yoga meets YouTube, the East and the West. Dave feels yummy. Ooh, gosh, that's great. All right. And then I didn't know if you all had a wall, but if you did have a wall, this is something to do to take tension. Dave, this is a really good one for you. You go up against the wall at the end of, you go up against the wall, preferably standing. I'm just going to do it seated because I'm here. You stand up against the wall, your head, the middle of the head, you try to get your head in the wall, but you definitely get your back in the wall. So actually head might not touch. The back will be in the wall. You inhale to lift the arm and the head looks in the opposite direction. And then exhale back to center. Inhale to lift the arm and rotate the head in the opposite direction. Even try to touch the wall with the hand if you can. And at first you might not be able to touch the wall with the hand. And then you're going to notice you're going to have more range of motion coming into the neck. So this is a really good one to do for those of you that are still working a lot and doing a lot of stuff on the computer. Try that. I was going to do it today in class. I just didn't know who had access to a wall. So Dave, do that. And then you guys email me and let me know if that worked. Okay. All right. I guess it's time for me to go. And I will see you all later. Oh, he can do that. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so do that because that'll be really great. And then Eleanor, oh, great. Yeah, see, Stan? East meets the West. You're so right. YouTube meets yoga. It's so great. Okay. All right. Bye, everyone. I'll see you. I'm back here on Tuesday. Next week, 4 classes. Not doing my Wednesday yoga therapy for posture from 11 to 12:15. And I'm not doing balance from 12:30 to 1:45. Just giving myself a little break next week because I was supposed to have 3 weeks off. And I figure 2 hours is good. All right. I'll see you all later. Email me, stay in communication, and I hope that you have a great weekend. Bye.